Thank you. So delighted to be here. So 1 year ago, we launched mySkin at this conference. So it's fantastic to be here 1 year later and providing you with an update on where we've got to so far. So as you will have heard throughout the day, and as you will know, psoriasis has a very variable course, different for different people who are affected by the condition. So for some, it might gradually progress over time, as you can see here. For others, it may be more low level, however, fluctuating with good days, bad days, and that over the long term. And then for others, it may be more of an acute onset, where it's severe from the very beginning and remains as such. Unfortunately, when somebody first develops psoriasis, we don't know currently which journey they will take throughout their lifetime. But wouldn't it be great if we did know, because it would mean we could be more intelligent with our treatments, and of course the theme that we've just been talking about, intervening early, treating early, getting on top of things so that we could potentially change that disease trajectory. What's been apparent over the past few decades is psoriasis has a very strong genetic component, and lots of the research we've been doing has shown that. So there are more than 100 regions of our genetic code now that we know are associated with susceptibility to psoriasis. But it's more complicated than just genetics, because we know that there are so many environmental factors that are at play too, and we need to understand this more. So diet, exercise, smoking, mental health are all at play. And of course, all of these variables are dynamic over a person's lifetime, and that plays into what happens with psoriasis over a person's lifetime. So mySkin is here to try and better understand how psoriasis changes over time, and importantly, why, and try to understand mechanisms. We want to better understand the interaction between all of these multitude of environmental factors and how that impacts on our genetic code, so that we can try to unpick this complex relationship between psoriasis and our physical and mental health. And the aim is that we want to be able to predict who will go on to have a particular disease course with their psoriasis, so that we can change that trajectory and treat early. We want to be able to tailor treatments to each individual, so the right treatment the first time, and not only get the treatments to everybody early and the right one, but also if we do that, we've probably got a better chance that one day we might be able to reduce the dose or even stop the medication and let somebody still have good skin but not be dependent on the medications over their lifetime. We need to, a big theme in mySkin is tracking progress over time, but asking the people who are affected by psoriasis how they're feeling, how they're doing, and how things are varying for them over time. We hope that the information that we're collecting will enrich the already very rich data sets that we've been collecting over many years, one of which is the BSTOP study, which is led by Catherine Smith at St. John's. And this has a multitude of genetic data within it. And mySkin is very much a sister project to BSTOP, where we're enriching all of that genetic information with the patient experience. We're taking photographs, or asking you to take photographs and enrich this data set as part of mySkin. And the hope is that we'd be able to better predict who will develop the multimorbidity, so the other health conditions that are associated with psoriasis. And again, the theme of being able to get in early and stop the progression. So thank you to everybody who's participated so far. That if we are still recruiting, still keen for more and more people to come on board, and it's very easy to do so. So you just have to go to the website, which is myskin.org. It's a simple online survey where we ask you to enter information on your skin, your treatments, how you're feeling. This is the website. And there's the green button at the top, and after clicking on that, it opens up a simple electronic consent form, and then there's simple fields to fill in about all of the things that I've mentioned, and finishing with optional photography. And we ask you to take the photographs, if you're happy to do so, and of 3 sites. So one is what you would feel is your worst affected site, then one of your torso, and then one of your legs. We check in again every 3 months for the space of 1 year initially, and we do this through an email to you. So just get an email in the inbox and then click on the link to fill in the short follow-up survey. So where have we got so far? So we launched a year ago, and it's fantastic that we've had 772 people participate so far from all over the UK, but you can see a bit of a weighting there towards the south, so we need a bit more, a bit more of a northern contingent to come on board. But it's been great to see the uptake throughout the UK. Anybody with psoriasis can take part, no matter how you're doing with your skin at the moment, no matter what treatment you're on, or even whether you're under the care of a dermatologist. So we're keen to hear from everyone. So the community's growing, and we have about 83 new people come on board each month. As I mentioned, we come back to you every 3 months and ask you to tell us how you're doing. And I'm pleased to say that 2/3 of people are continuing to stick with us throughout. So that's been fantastic to see. We hope that that will continue. So far, the majority of participants are female, so 62%. The average age of someone who's taking part in mySkin is 51. Their psoriasis starts at an average age of 23. We ask people to tell us their skin status, and the majority of participants, as you can see there, are anywhere between clear and moderate, but actually we've got a relatively good range there. Most people are using creams and ointments for their psoriasis at the time that they take part. This slide just sort of really, I think, underscores the mental health burden of psoriasis. So 1/4 of people who have taken part in mySkin have a known diagnosis of a mental health condition. 1 in 4 of our participants screen positive for anxiety, and we've embedded a validated tool for screening for that, and 1 in 5 for depression. Around half of our participants report that they have family members who also have psoriasis. So that's in keeping with this known genetic association and heritability that we know is at play. And those who have family members with psoriasis have developed psoriasis at an earlier age compared to those without family members. So that's data in mySkin, and it's very much in keeping with what we would expect from the literature that we know so far. Around 1/3 of participants have psoriatic arthritis, which is a known health condition associated with psoriasis. So one of the key questions that we ask in mySkin is, what do you feel triggered your psoriasis for the very first time? And one thing that really comes out loud and clear is the importance of stress. So 33%, so 1/3 of people said that stress was a major factor in triggering their psoriasis for the first time. 13% that they said that they had a throat infection and they felt that was linked. 5% say low mood. But when we ask the question, we let you really list as many factors as you feel are important. And the average number of factors that people are reporting is influential in that first onset of their psoriasis is 2.5. So it's not just one factor. And in fact, when people do put down multiple factors, we see all of these sort of cluster together. So stress, low mood. Climate was an interesting one, and perhaps one that we in many ways weren't expecting. So pollution, it was often cited, and weather, in particular colder weather. There's the lifestyle factors that we've talked about, so weight gain, alcohol, smoking, but the importance is they're coming together. So that's psoriasis for the first time. Then the second main question that we asked is, well then, once you've had your psoriasis, what then makes your psoriasis worse over time? And again, loud and clear, it's stress. So 2/3 of people said that stress makes their psoriasis worse. Half of the people who were answering mySkin said that the weather had an influence, in particular colder weather. 1/4 said low mood, and 1/5 said alcohol. And again, it's not one factor in isolation. So the average number of triggers for worsening psoriasis was 3 from any individual who's taken part. So it's really building up this complex picture that we need to understand more about. So, and then what was also interesting is there's consistency between triggers of first psoriasis onset and then the triggers that make the psoriasis worse. So there was, for example, 88% of people who said that climate-related factors triggered their psoriasis for the first time said this also worsened psoriasis. So there's consistency there, potentially indicating that there are common mechanisms at play between that first onset and then fluctuation in disease later on. So when we look at the population as a whole, and this is the data that we've got so far, so we've really got around 9 months of data, there's actually relative consistency between when we look at the population as a whole in psoriasis severity over time. And if anything, actually, from when somebody first participates in the study, actually there seems to be potentially some improvement over the course of those 9 months. However, if we look at the data in a different way, so if you look first at that black line in the middle, that's the average population. So we take everybody in mySkin, and if you look at it, it looks, well, actually relatively consistent. People are pretty much staying the same throughout those 9 months. However, if you look at the thinner lines, it's up and down and actually quite variable. So we miss that individual journey if we just look at the population as a whole, but the individual journey is very important. Here's one example. So in the space of just 6 months, there's, the severity goes up and down. So tracking the individual is important, and that's what we're doing with mySkin. So I wanted to give a flavor of some of the data that we've managed to get so far, thanks to everybody's generous contributions. And we're continuing, and we want to build this data set so that we can interrogate it more deeply. So data collection's ongoing. If you've not already joined mySkin, please do join, and it's just a case of going to the website myskin.org and taking part. If you are already part of the study, thank you so much, and please do fill in the 3 monthly follow-ups for a year so that we can really get the best picture of what's going on over that period. What we really hope to do with this data is develop tools to better predict disease progression so that we can be in this situation from when somebody first presents with psoriasis to understand, well, what course will their psoriasis take and how can we better target treatments so that we can actually change that disease trajectory potentially. And we're doing that by combining mySkin data with BSTOP data, with all of the genetic information that we've already collected, but enriching it with patient experience and with our imaging data. So the hope is that we can move forward to improve health and treatment for people with psoriasis. The other things that we're working on is we're developing an app, which is the mySkin app, We are hoping to have the final app ready over the summer, and the first thing that we'll be doing with the app is using it in one of our clinical trials called Plan Psoriasis. We hope to use it in the trial to show proof of principle that we can collect outcomes from people with psoriasis using the app, and it's with a smaller group of people who are 90 people will be in the trial. We'll be following them up for a year, and if all goes well, the plan is to then launch that more widely as part of the mySkin study. A key part of the app is collecting photographs, and we are making it much easier to capture photographs through the app and send them securely. So we're very excited about that. We've teamed up with experts in AI at King's College London, and we are looking at all of the images that have been submitted through mySkin and images that we've collected at St John's to understand how we can use AI to assess severity of psoriasis from images, and so that we can be more data-driven with our care. And actually, you could potentially, with the app, better monitor your own psoriasis using AI technology. So that's work that's exciting and underway, and we hope that by combining the images, the patient-reported outcomes, and the genetics, that we'll have different modalities of data that we can refine prediction modeling to better understand the future for where somebody's psoriasis might progress. The other thing that we're doing, and again, this is all part of trying to, I suppose, enable people in the comfort of their own homes, is by exploring self-taken blood samples. So as part of mySkin, we're doing a pilot project, and we'll be inviting people who are keen, who've already taken part in mySkin, who are keen to contribute, to test out taking self-samples of blood, sending them to us at King's, and then we will be looking at simple things like genetic profiles, as well as, say, the level of medication that you have in your blood. So we're doing that with one biologic at the moment, and that is part also of the clinical trial that I mentioned. So we've got lots of streams of work going on, but very much centered around trying to make care more data-driven and empower the people who are actually have psoriasis themselves to understand more about the condition. Please keep up to date with what we're doing, and the easy way to do that is by going to our website. We have a Discoveries and Publications tab where we summarize a snapshot of the data. This is updated every month at the beginning of the month, so you'll see the counter going up as more and more people come on board, and then a snapshot of everything that we're collecting. Also on the page is all of our scientific publications. Every time we do a scientific publication, we aim to write a plain English summary and also do an infographic, as you can see there on the right, which is it's a nice way to summarize in a snapshot what the paper shows, and then with the help of the Psoriasis Association, we've been able to disseminate that through the Psoriasis Association networks by putting it on the website and through social media. So we hope that that's been beneficial. We've recorded podcasts, and myself and Catherine recorded the first one on mySkin, so introducing that. It's called the St John's podcast. So please do have a listen if you've not already. And there are 2 other episodes that have been recorded around hot topics in science. So one is around artificial intelligence in skin health, and another's on single-cell sequencing in, again, as is relevant to skin diseases. So we hope that we've got lots of plans to make more podcasts, so please do let us know what you'd like to hear about as well, because we'd be delighted to hear from you. thank you for following us on social media. So we've got more than 1,000 followers now, and it's been a great way for us to share where we've got to with our recruitment, share our research findings so far, but also it's been fantastic to hear from people who've taken part in mySkin and learn about their own individual experiences. And thank you to those who have been happy to share so that we can share it with everybody. So that's been really great to see. To celebrate mySkin reaching 1 year and turning 1, we have sent a 1-year summary to everybody who's taken part in mySkin so far. So if you have taken part, you should have received that, I think, in the past day or so via your email. And this is just a snapshot of what we've learned from the whole population so far, but then also we fed back what you've told us about your psoriasis and your skin status, but also, importantly, the impact that your psoriasis has had on your life and at every time point that you have given us data. So we hope that's been useful too, and that's just a thank you for taking part. Thank you to the Psoriasis Association, who have really sort of co-developed mySkin with us, and it's been such a pleasure to work closely with you all on it. We meet monthly with Georgia, who's at the back there in the communications team, along with the team from IFPA, and it's been fantastic to just have that opportunity to align our communication strategy and make sure we're feeding back and sort of refining our research questions and critiquing our data as it comes out. The study's funded by the National Institute for Health and Care Research too. So the mySkin team is a multidisciplinary, very diverse team from clinicians, researchers, data scientists, database developers, psychologists, clinical nurse specialists, project managers, and patient advocates. So it's been fantastic to bring everybody together, and it's really built on the work that we did during the pandemic, and it's been great to continue it. We would be delighted to invite you to join us. We have a free public event on the 30th of July, and it's called Skin Health, Celebrating New Advances. It's at the Science Gallery on Guy's site in London, if you're able to come. It's an exciting showcase from researchers who are at the forefront of skin science, and we'll be discussing everything from melanoma to genetics, to inflammatory skin diseases, the mind-skin connection, and also rare inherited diseases. So if you can come, that would be great. And thank you very much for listening.
Time for 2 targeted questions.
Hi, Satvir.
Hi, Russ.
It was really lovely this morning to get that email from your team.
Oh, good, good.
Because as someone who's a big advocate for PPI, one of the things that is lacking is feedback. So to get that feedback today means that you're doing your job right. So I just want to congratulate you on that. I think really well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. That's really appreciated. Thank you very much. And thank you for taking part, because I know you've probably got a very full summary there. So good, good.
Hi. At the end of the questionnaire, there's a box for people to put other information. And this is not a question, it's just a comment. I use this box to just make several queries about diet.
So you mean you'd want to know more about the impact of diet? Yeah, absolutely.
Several years ago, we had speakers about various different aspects on the diet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know, Chris, you're leading. Chris is involved in a program looking at exactly that, so the impact on diet and psoriasis. And some very exciting work is happening in the field. I'd say at the moment, we probably don't know enough about it. In mySkin, we've embedded quite simple information about how many, I think it's fruit and vegetables, so how many, you know, how much you eat, and your weight,
so many
of course.
variables.
Many, yeah. So I hope that we'll learn more about it. I think, and there's lots of good work going on in the field, but it's definitely important.
One last question, a point at the front.
Is the mySkin survey something that you're looking to expand out, we'll say, to other nationalities outside of the UK, like to Ireland and Europe? Is it a case that you're just looking at the UK as a case study and that you hope to bring it further afield, or at the moment is there no intention to expand it out further?
No, good question. So this is our first step, but absolutely every intention to go beyond the UK. We wanted to, and I think we're there really, we wanted to get good proof of principle, that we were getting good data capture. The fields we designed with all of that big team, so there was lots of multidisciplinary input, and we've used lots of validated screens within the mySkin questionnaire, but we wanted to check it was working well. I think before we roll it out, we want to make sure we are getting the right images, and that's something that we are actively looking at now. So the 3 images that we've asked everyone to submit, we're busy analysing that, but absolutely. And in fact, that worked really well with So Protect Me in the pandemic. So it was global, and we translated the survey into different languages, which actually really enhanced the uptake in countries like Portugal and Spain, Italy. So yes, it's something we want to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.